someone just made a massive comeback, their first match back inside a wrestling ring after a 5-year hiatus from what was said to be a career-ending neck injury. Tell us all about that one. I have so many questions about it.
Yeah. So like, I wasn't actually expecting to wrestle at all. Like that wasn't in the back of my head. I always wanted to go back into wrestling again, but like, with Edge and Stone Cold and stuff like that, they waited years before they even like tried to even think about getting in the ring again. So it's been 5 years. And then I was speaking to Tony when when we negotiate some things about going to AEW and stuff. And I was just like, you know what? I would love to see if I can, because he was just like, we'll bring you in and you can do all these different things, be an on-screen character, but I was like, no, I want to see if I can wrestle, like, and like starting somewhere fresh, I just wanted to start again. So we went on Halloween. I went to a doctor, and this doctor is fantastic. He's based in Marina del Rey. He does NFL players, NBA players. He does hockey players. He does these big celebrities too, like the celebrities that they told me that were in there. I was like, oh my gosh, how cool. This is a really cool place. And like his whole building is just covered in these pictures of all these people that he's done. And I mean, he's just top tier. So I was like, I want to go to him. I don't want to go to a wrestling doctor. I don't want to go to a WWE or an AEW doctor. Like, no offense to them, but I just want it from an outside perspective, And so, so Halloween, I went in there, and the doctor straight away was like, okay, let's get you an x-ray. So he checked the x-rays. He's like, oh, these look pretty good. And I was like, okay. But he was like, but you can't trust the x-rays. You have to go in with the MRIs and CT scans to triple check. And I was just like, oh, okay. And then the last time I had an MRI, the thing that was going to cause paralysis for me was I didn't have any fluid around my spinal cord, around where I had my second surgery. So if I would have got kicked there, that's it. I'm toast, right? So I've seen a few MRIs in my time. I'm not saying I'm a professional, but when I saw it, I noticed that there was fluid around my spine, and I was just like, oh, that looks good. And then he was like, no, your neck is 100% fantastic. The fusions have fused perfectly 100%. He was like, you have no fractures in your neck, like no bone spurs, no nothing. Like it just looked so clean and good. And I just like burst into tears. I was like, oh my God. I was like, something I can wrestle? And he was just like, yeah, you can do whatever you want. And he said I could go 100% too. But I was like, you know what? The last time I came back, I went a little bit too crazy with all the matches. I would rather take it slow. And that was my decision. And thankfully, Tony Khan was receptive to that.
So that was a big surprise aha moment for you when the doctor said that. You didn't see that coming. You just assumed there was still going to be some sort of weakness, deterioration, no fluid still. You had no idea that was coming.
No, I had no idea. So I thought I wouldn't be 100%, and then maybe I could do one or two things, but nothing too crazy. Kind of like how Stone Cold did with Kevin Owens, and how it was just like he didn't bump too crazy. I was like, well, maybe I can get away with doing that. But seeing that there was like all the blood around my neck, I was like, so tell me about this paralysis thing. He was just like, oh, it's red now. If you get kicked, you have a lot of cushion there. And I was like, okay, great. I have a second or third chance now, which is incredible.
That's unbelievable. And of course, Stone Cold, Steve Austin, Edge, two of the greatest names in professional wrestling. With your resume, you're right up there with them among those legends. So my question for you, as someone that has pioneered the women's wrestling game, and we'll talk about that here in a second, going into that first match, what were you more nervous about? Was it the injury? Was it the ring rust? Or even perhaps the pop, the reaction you were going to get coming out? Because we've heard Triple H, Shawn Michaels say that before when they came back from injuries. That was the thing they were worried about, going out on top and coming back and hoping that the fans care about you as much then as they did before when you were at your peak.
So the pop thing, I wasn't too focused on when I first debuted in AEW, I was worried about the pop, because I was like, they know me as Paige. Now I'm going to be Saraya. I'm in this whole brand new company, and there's like this whole like WWE versus AEW thing going on the internet, which I'm like so not for. I'm just like, there's plenty of places for people to work now, and I think it's fantastic. But the thing that I was worried about, was the pop when I first returned. And that was the biggest pop I ever got in my whole career. I was just like, oh my gosh, and I'm Saraya, and I'm trending for the first time as Saraya. It just felt really fantastic. And then my boyfriend's twerking in the background right now.
What's up, Ronnie?
What's up, Ronnie? He's so funny. So yeah, that was my first initial thing before I started wrestling. And then when it came to the wrestling side of things, the thing that I was worried about is if my wind was going to get me through. And it did, but I was dying. I was just like, Jerry Lynn was actually like, everyone was really fantastic. Like Jerry Lynn was backstage. He's like this old school wrestler, like, and legend. And he was like, you kept your head down a lot. You need to pick it up. And I was just like, bro, I couldn't keep my head up. I was blown up. Like I could not breathe. I was like face down. I was like, I can't believe I went out and did that. I think he did like a total of 14 minutes. And the first initial thing was everyone was really excited that I was in the ring, right? So they're very hyped. And then I did like the first bump, and I wanted to do that first bump where I was like, I psyched everybody out because everyone was like, as soon as she takes the first bump, she's going to break her neck. Because it's really crazy to me that people were so supportive of the men coming back. But I don't know if it's like a female thing or not, but like, and I don't want to make it about that really, but like coming back, there was a lot of mixed reactions about it. Like people were supportive or they were just really mean to me. And I'm like, what is happening? Like, shouldn't this be a really cool thing for people to witness, So I wanted to go out there and like prove everybody wrong, but also troll them a little bit with the first bump. So I psyched them out and pretended that I hurt my neck on the first bump. And everyone went dead quiet in the arena. They were like, like that. And then I got up and just started like laughing, And then the crowd went quiet again because after that, all the bumps, they were all just like, oh my God, please don't get hurt. And I realized afterwards is because people just genuinely don't want me to get hurt in the ring again.
Yeah.
It's a scary situation. And there was that viral video of me getting hurt in the first place. So I understood. And then once I got through it, everyone was clapping afterwards, like, whoo, she got through it, you guys. Good job.
And that's a great thing in professional wrestling. Of course, you can take advantage of coming back off of these injury angles, especially with one as detailed as yours, being away from the ring for 5 entire years before you were able to get back to this moment. That can add for a fun wrinkle to your point about this kind of, I don't want to say unspoken rivalry, competitive rivalry, we'll call it, between WWE and AEW. I remember a time when you weren't really supposed to tweet, mention, even say the other's names. Yeah. I thought it was really cool how it seemed like every wrestler, professional wrestler on a WWE roster tweeted out in support of you. Anyone that had a professional or personal relationship with you all rallied around you despite
me chills. Yeah, no, I realized how much support I had because obviously leap into the other company, it was not like anything malicious or anything personal or something like that. I just wanted a fresh start, right? And the one thing that I was really grateful thing with Tony is that he was like, you can have the freedom to do whatever you want. Like, we just want you over here. We'll take care of you, and you get to decide what, when, and what you want to do, So it felt really good to have like power, like for myself, like being in control of what I do with my, with storylines or my body, like in the ring, like it was just awesome. So again, it was never anything personal, taking the leap or anything like that. It was just where I'm at in my life. I'm 30 now. I want to like take things slower, and so, yeah. And then debuting, I got a ton of support, but like actually getting back in the ring, I feel like even WWE is not going to stop people from congratulating someone that did something so incredible like that. I mean, that's an inspiring thing. And I just don't think they would ever get mad at someone like Bailey or, or anyone like that to be like, hey, don't you congratulate someone on like coming back after a life-ending injury, But it felt really great to have like both sides be so supportive. When I got backstage after the match, everyone was like, yeah, like coming up and hugging me and just like, it felt really incredible. And then my phone being blown up from all the WWE crew too, like it was really, really nice to see.
Yeah, and you spoke about having that control over your career and that being a big reason as to why you went to AEW instead of going back to WWE. From what I've noticed, and I think this is the general consensus here, during that time away, you were really able to show the world how giving yourself some control over your own life would be a great thing because of all the success that you've been able to accomplish outside of the ring. Even if I took it all the way back to, you know, Fighting with My Family, the story about your life, a movie you did with The Rock, that was just a mega hit, very inspiring movie, not only for wrestling fans, but just any person with a family out there. It was very
Yeah.
universal. Then you talk about all these other things that you were able to do, being top 10 in the world globally, a top 10 earner on Twitch, which is absolutely ridiculous considering all the athletes, musicians, entertainers, everybody, all the users on Twitch. You were top 10 in the world. You've been in music videos, even with someone twerking in the background.
My boyfriend, he left out. No more talking.
But you've been able to do all these things. So my question for you is, now that you have that control over your career like you've always wanted, you got everything going in AEW. We're all going to have to stay tuned to watch what's coming up next there. But do you have any plans outside of the ring for any appearances, television shows, movies, any places we can see you pop up?
Oh yeah, I can't really give away too much, but like now I have 100% freedom to do whatever I want because I did all that stuff being shackled. You know, like I kind of had to go do that stuff. As you know, Mojo, like as much as it's incredible being in WWE, you're kind of limited to what you can and can't do outside the company. So you have to like get permission to do things, you know. And so, and it was during a pandemic too, you know. So I was trying to since I was sitting at home and not being used on TV, I was like, I need to try and do something with my life and try and continue to do stuff. And even though it was limited, I still got things done, which is great. But now that I have no shackles, no nothing, and I have so much freedom, it feels really good to have people approach me. Like so many production companies approach me, so many like book editors, like come up to me, you know, like there's just so many different people that like, and then I obviously work with, you know, UTA and stuff like that. And they were just like, I can't believe all these people, like, we don't even have to like ask them to do it. They're coming to us to work with you. And I was just like, that feels incredible. Like, it feels like, cause I got really scared that I was kind of like, uh, I felt like a bum after a while because I was sitting around so much and I hate not working. So now I'm working constantly. I have like 25 freaking calls today, but I'm just very excited about the future. And there's so much more to come. Like 2023 is going to be a huge year for sure for Saraya.